All right. I want to welcome everybody to this roundtable call. I'm really excited that you guys are all here. And as Paul said, we have a really exciting DEA event that we are planning. My name is Sarah Storms. I'm the chair of the DEA committee, and I would love to introduce you to Marilyn, our amazing president, and she is going to take us through this beginning part of it.
Sarah, thank you so much, and everyone, welcome. This is something I have been so excited about, the work the committee has done and the enthusiastic response that we've gotten from all of you all and several people beyond you all. So normally I go off the cuff, but today I have prepared just some brief remarks welcoming everybody. So I want to say that we're thrilled to have you all to join us for this conversation about one of the most exciting opportunities in our design community, the Design Excellence Awards. This is an opportunity for us to celebrate the talent, creativity, and impact of interior designers across New Jersey. And we know that submitting your work takes a lot more than just skill. It also takes courage. This roundtable discussion today is here to provide you with the information, resources, inspiration, and encouragement that you will need to navigate the submission process with confidence. A competition like this is about more than just recognition. It's about pushing ourselves to elevate our work, share our unique design perspectives, and contribute to the broader conversation about excellence in interior design. So whether you are a first-time entrant or you're a seasoned participant, we hope that today's discussion offers valuable insight and encouragement. I'd like to extend my sincere thanks to Susan Farsi, our director at large, who has put together, I think, just a tremendous program. And I would be remiss if I didn't also extend sincere thanks to Sarah Storms and to Alexa Harris Rolfe. Both of you all, ladies, have done just an exceptional job of bringing awareness and recognition to what we're trying to do. And Susan, under your leadership, I just don't know that this would be as successful as I can see that it's turning out to be without your insight and your creativity. So thank you to all of you all. And with that, let's get started.
Okay, thank you, Marilyn. So Susan is going to talk to us about timeline and categories for the awards. So Susan.
Okay, Sarah, did you have a screen to share? Yes, okay. So the portal is open for submissions. And early bird pricing is happening right now through February 25th. That doesn't mean you have to submit by February 25th. You have to complete when everyone else does. But if you want to take advantage of the early bird pricing, go ahead and get on the CPJ-AM portal, register, pay for the categories that you want to enter in, and start getting all of your submission material together. And the next slide has all the categories that are available to enter. There's residential categories, commercial, the students have their section, and then we have a historic preservation, and our industry partners can enter as well. And you'll see all the rules and regulations for every one of the categories once you're in the portal and you start going through that. And then back to the other slide, Sarah. So once everything is in and submitted, then everything gets kind of pulled together and sent off to the judges. They have their 3 or 4 weeks that they're judging everything. Then they send it back in to our admin, and she then orders all the awards, and the program starts to formulate, and then we have our awards ceremony on June 11th at the Maplewood Country Club. And George to the Rescue is our MC again, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope everybody comes.
Okay, great. Thank you, Susan. So just to kind of kick off the conversation, we have a series of frequently asked questions that we wanted to address ahead of time. And so if you have any particular questions, if you could hold them until the end, that would be great because we have a lot of information coming out here. And then also Daniel Bradbury will also be going through the portal at the end too. So to kick us off, I'm going to go to Paul, our Director of Membership. And Paul, who judges this competition? Is it the committee? Is it somebody else? Can you give us a little bit more information about that? You're on mute.
Great question, Sarah. Again, hello, everyone. My name is Paul. Thank you for joining us tonight. The committee never sees any of the entries, even after the judges return them to the chapter administrator before the awards event. The competition ensures complete fairness as each entity remains entirely anonymous. Judges never know who submitted them or view project details or photos with identifying information. Only the administrator will send entries to various chapters around the US to judge and keep everything under wraps until the winner are presented at the awards event. The judges are from all other ASID chapters and vetted to be qualified to objectively evaluate the submitted entries in the competition. The judges' scores are tabulated online with the competition platform CPJam.
Okay, great. And what are judges looking for? So, to kind of say broadly, in your descriptive narratives, it's great to explain challenges and solutions. So when you're writing and putting together, think about the whole project. A personal anecdote I was going to share was feedback on a project last year from a judge was that they were concerned a kitchen that I had submitted didn't have enough task lighting within it. And so they were unsure how to necessarily give points. And so it's interesting because I typically have my photos edited to be editorial and I take out all of the hi-hats just so the ceiling looks prettier in pictures. And so it was an interesting thing for me to think about when this year submitting, I was more clear about the lighting plan that I had submitted and maybe doing a non-professional photo that showed how I had task lighting in different layers. And so then I'm going to take this off to Susan and say, who determines the rules and regulations?
So the committee carefully reviews and refines the competition rules and regulations, implementing changes and making some tweaks based on surveys and feedback from previous years and previous competitions. To ensure fairness and consistency, the updated guidelines are submitted to the board for approval before the competition launches. And additionally, the chapter's rules and regulations align with national policies, maintaining a standard of excellence across all entries.
Okay, so that's great. And Susan, can you tell us what are the most common reasons for disqualification?
Yes. So the most common reasons why people might get disqualified, and this is based off of, and this is all in the rules and regulations, but the biggest one is identifying information. You have to make sure that you don't have your name, your firm's name anywhere, your logo, the architect, any name on the entry. It has to be anonymous. Commercial projects occasionally have a client's logo, and that's okay. But for residential, and also for IP categories, there could be a logo. But for all of residential and student entries, everything has to be anonymously entered. So you just have to double, triple, double check and have somebody else come and look at your pictures, look at everything, because you're so used to looking at them, you may miss an identifier. Another thing that is on there, let me see, enters ownership. Oh yes, you have to make sure the project is yours. If you collaborate with somebody else, you know, everything has to be laid out up front. You can't claim something's yours and then someone can come in and question it. Like if you're a designer in on a job that was started by another designer and you've just added some things to the room, that's a no-go. Every entry has to have a completed furniture floor plan with architectural scale and square footage noted. You'll see a lot of the entries are based on square footage, you know, greater than 5,000 feet, less than 2,500 square feet. So that all has to be indicated on your furniture floor plan, noting the square footage. Let's see, all student entries must be all entries must be actual physically installed projects with the category exception of student entries because they haven't done actual physically installed projects yet. You cannot re-enter anything that you have previously submitted and won in a category. You can re-enter a project that you previously submitted but did not win anything. And then if you enter something into the wrong category, that's a disqualifier. You can't have the same image entered into two different categories. And you know, you just have to make sure you go through the checklist and make sure you have submitted everything that is required for the entry. Again, it's really good to have another pair of eyes on your project just to double check that you have entered everything that is required.
Okay, great. Thanks, Susan.
Mm-hmm.
So just to recap a few things, if my project had been disqualified in a previous competition, may I resubmit it with corrections? Yes. If I am disqualified, may I make the corrections and re-enter it within the same year? No. You won't know that you're disqualified until the competition closes. Daniel and the administrator vet everything prior to be sent out to the judges. And if a project didn't win in the past, may I re-enter it? Yes. And pay attention to the judge's comments. Did you describe one of the criteria as being met, but it wasn't photographed? Did you submit enough information for the judges to see a transformation? Floor plans before photos. So we would love for you to resubmit it if you were disqualified in a previous year, and then take whatever you've previously written about with all the information you've gathered and bolster your submission for the next year. And so, Susan, does the Design Excellence Awards competition favor residential design?
No, it does not favor residential design. There just happens to be a few more categories to enter in residential design compared to commercial, and then of course the student entries. Sarah, if you could pop back the categories, am I on mute? Yeah. You can see that it's almost an even split between residential and commercial. There's just a few more in the residential category. So those are all the possibilities. And, you know, at the awards ceremony, you may not notice, you know, there's some categories that there are no entries for, so therefore there will be no award given. And so, you know, you may think, oh, there were no entries for historic preservation or something like that, but we didn't get entries for them. But the category is there.
Okay, great. Yeah. And Paul, if I've never entered the DEA before, do you have any advice you could share that would make my project stand out? You're on mute, honey.
read the rules and regulations just to be sure you have everything that is required, as well as the submission tips on the nj.asid.org website. Write your description narrative to follow the images you entered. That is really important. It is also very important to know that the judge is reading your narrative while reviewing your photo. So write your narrative with important aspects that you want to point out. I think that is really key in creating the story and making the connection for the judge between the actual image and what you're trying to say or show in your project.
Okay, great. Alexa, can you enter a room that was started by another designer but was never completed until the client hired you?
So Susan touched on this. Thanks, Susan. No, the design must be all of your own work. Unless it's a joint project with another designer, then you may enter the space, but you must credit all of the collaborators.
Okay, great. How do I enter a project that I collaborated on?
Okay, so only one will do the actual entry and the payment, but all the designers need to be credited in both written portions, and all of the credited work must be from an ASID New Jersey member that is in good standing.
Okay, great. And Paul, this is my first time entering. How difficult is the process?
The process is straightforward, but requires time and attention to detail. Be sure to have all your files ready before you start, and always allow yourself plenty of time to review and make necessary updates before submitting.
Okay, great. Susan, I've recently won in the kitchen and bath categories, but now I've completed the entire house. May I include the rooms that have previously won in the category for 2 or more spaces?
Nope, you may not. No previously winning projects may be entered a second time. However, the remaining rooms of that project can be. So you can do the living room, the family room, any of the bedrooms, as long as it's not anything to do with the project that was entered and you won.
Okay, great. Sarah Fletcher, what are some benefits to entering and possibly winning? Will the award-winning projects be published?
Yes, media love awards and award winners, and the winners are featured on social media too at Folio Friday. The gala is regularly attended by Design NJ, NJ Home, 201 Magazine, NJ Family, View, and other media, and they review the winners. With the winners' approvals, projects are pitched to these media. So we ask you, is this project free to pitch? Where would you like it? A press release is also developed and distributed to design media, and customized versions are sent to individual winners' local media if desired. Now, 201 Magazine has done big features on Bergen County winners. And on the social media side, Design NJ features the gold winner profiles on its social media and website. And we're also working on a badge that you can put in your signature and on your website that you were a winner.
Okay, that's great. And Abiola, how many projects can I enter into the competition? Is there a limit?
No, there is no limit. As many entries as you would like to pay for are allowed.
Okay, great. And Suha, as a student, do I need a photograph of a project?
No, so the student categories are designed specifically so that you may enter in as an assignment as assignment format with either hand-drawn or CAD drawn floor plans and renderings. So I know there's a lot of students here. As you do your assignments, that's exactly how you're going to turn it in: elevations, renderings, floor plans.
Okay, great. Susan, I'm entering a project in the residential 2 or more spaces. In residence, more than 5,000 square feet. Should I submit full floor plans, or should I be submitting individual room floor plans?
You should submit both, and please show the layout of the house with the square footage noted in relation to the category as under 2,500 square feet, over 2,500 square feet to 5,000 square feet, and over 5,000 square feet. Your narrative is explaining what areas you did, along with a floor plan noting the scale and square footage for each area, and your photo should correlate.
Is that what you're telling me?
What? I'm sorry. Okay, so square footage in each area, and your photo should correlate with the narrative and the floor plan. And on the rules and regulations, you're going to see all entries must include a complete furniture floor plan with architectural scale clearly identified and the total square footage indicated. For submissions with multiple rooms, include the total square footage of the project. Missing square footage will result in disqualification.
Paul, as an industry partner, what types of products may I enter? Does it have to be in collaboration with an ASID designer? Mute, you're on mute.
Sorry. Products designed and manufactured by an ASID New Jersey partner are eligible. This could be lighting, flooring, textile, millwork, or automation. The submission can be a product that the company designed or something that was created in collaboration with an ASID designer. Both must be members in good standing.
Susan, are before photos necessary?
Yes, we require before or in-progress photos to help judges verify the authenticity of each project, as renderings are not permitted in the competition except for the student entries. I hope we've answered a lot of your questions, and I'm now going to introduce you all to Daniel Bradbury. Please welcome Daniel from CPJAM. He is the mastermind of the competition platform, and we couldn't have this wonderful competition without him.
Well, hello, everybody. I was actually fixing a defect while you guys were talking, so I apologize. All right, so I guess a quick introduction, because I don't know the extreme majority of you. I've been kind of showing this off in to New Jersey, every so often, and I'm looking at a lot of new faces. So a quick introduction to explain who I am and what this is, and I'm actually also going to share my screen at the same time. So give me a moment here while I do that. Make sure I end up sharing the right thing. Very good. Okay. All righty. So let me drag this other window so I can see everybody again, and I'll explain what's going on. So as mentioned, my name is Daniel Bradbury, and I am a software engineer. So I've been doing this for quite a long time. So let me drag that a little bit better over there. Okay. I've worked for lots of Fortune 500s. I've worked out of Silicon Valley, and quite a while ago, about a decade ago, I ended up kind of falling into doing this by accident. What never really was the plan. But CPJ literally does stand for Connor, my son, Parker, my daughter, and Jennifer, my wife. I named the company after my family. So CPJ, Association Management, is where we get CPJAM from. And we run these sorts of things for lots of different organizations, the majority of ASID nationwide as well. So what you're looking at is the New Jersey 2025 landing page. You can visit this page at any time. You don't have to have an account, don't need to be signed in. You can come here and read the rules and regulations that they have mentioned. You can peruse lots of parts of the of this application. To get into it, to actually begin to be able to enroll, you'll need to create an account. Right now I'm signed in, but right here, this button will be replaced with sign in. You go and provide your first, last name, email address, phone number is optional, email is required, pick a password, save it, and then you're done. We don't share your information, we don't sell your information. It is just retained in here just for the purposes of this. I control the entire database, and I'm the only one who has access to it. So when we get in here, as I mentioned, you read everything. On this page, you're going to have a link to register. You'll pick your categories, whatever you want to buy, and you'll pay for it through the platform. It'll take your credit card, and once the payment is taken, your submissions will be unlocked. I am not going to show the view all on the entries because this is an active competition. There are multiple entries in here that I can see that I don't want to reveal to anyone. So instead, what I'm going to show you, when you get there, you're going to see your submissions as little boxes that tell you the category that you're in, your entry number, like R01-001. You click into that, and whenever you do, this is what you're going to see. This is a preview. So this is a fake person with New Jersey's requirements for the R01 residential single space submission. So you're going to have a note from the administration. Basically, they're greeting to you. At the bottom of the page, you can cycle through to next and back. This will let you move through the process, or you can click directly on the left. They will have provided forms for you to fill out, and they'll have provided folders for you to provide your files. So you can step through, and that will take you through to each of the forms. They want you to fill these out first. Anything that is required, it will note that for you. So you cannot submit your submission until you have filled everything out that is required. If it's invalid, you'll see an error. So if I do something that's not a valid phone number, then it will tell me this is not a valid phone number. If it's requiring like a member ID, then you can literally put anything that you want and it'll accept that. But if you don't have anything, then it'll say something is missing here. Now, this is only important when you go to the final step. We'll come to that in a minute. But fill out everything. If you only have pieces of it now, just fill out what you can. Whenever you are completely done, submit your submission. Even though you have submitted it, that just means it is now eligible for scoring. You can come back and modify it at any time until the window completely closes. And I think the window, I have to go back and look, is in April 14th at midnight Eastern. So up until the last few moments, you can make as many changes as you want. So you'll cycle through each of these. Let's see if it's going to let me. Yeah. So you'll cycle through each of these until you get all the way through. Answer every question that you have presented to you. Anything that's required, make sure you answer it. When it comes to files, this is grayed out because this is a preview. I'm not able to actually interact with it like I want. But this is where you upload. You click the upload button. It'll be blue. It is blue as long as.
Yeah, I texted them.
It is blue as long as you have available space in this folder. So each folder will have a minimum and maximum, and a minimum that can be required or that is required. So you have to have provided at least the minimum that is required, but you cannot upload beyond the maximum. And it will tell you what type of files are permitted. For example, this will only take images. You can't provide a PDF here. So upload images as required. They're asking for primary photographs. They're asking for before photographs. They're asking for a furniture floor plan. They're asking for a headshot. Now, it's important to note when you go through these forms, some forms and some folders are visible to the judges. that is what they're referring to. That space, if you reveal accidentally who you are, then you become susceptible to disqualification. Now, I will go out on a limb and say, even though that you have submitted something that will disqualify you, but you are before the submission date, before the cutoff date, you can still remove that and then fix it. Even though you have technically submitted the submission, you can still change that. But when the date expires, then you lose your ability to do that. Okay. But bear in mind, some of these forms are visible to the judges, some of them are not. So certain things that they want the judges to see, such as meeting the criteria, IPs in the project, that are used for it, judges will be able to review that. Judges are going to be able to see what's in your primary photographs. They're going to be able to see what's in your before photos and in the floor plan, but they will not be able to see your headshot because that would clearly identify who you are. So anyway, once you have settled all of those, provided everything that's been required, settled all the requirements, you have the ability to provide the name that just gets recorded for this submission, that whom should get credit for this submission. They're going to get notified in the final results that this is the name or names that belong with this. And whenever you're completely done, you will have the ability on this page to see all of the questions, all of the items that you've provided, all the images that you've uploaded, and you can go back and edit these directly. And whenever you like what you have, this submit button will be green. You hit submit, and that's it. Again, once you've done it, you can come back and modify it, but you'll notice on the actual submission list, you'll notice that it will now be green and it'll have a check mark on it. Now, it's important to note.
Napkin, please.
It's important to note that on this page.
Sharon, do you mind muting yourself so we can all hear what Daniel's having to say? Thanks.
It's important to note that on this page right now, you see a back to entries button. Because it's a preview, I've actually hidden this button, but there is a button that will appear here when you're actually on your submission. And that button will be a blue button that says request for help. Now, if you need assistance with anything technical, that's myself typically, or my wife is the one who runs this, Jennifer. If you have a question regarding the submission, what is permitted or anything about your submission whatsoever, click the request for help, type in whatever you want to submit and hit that. That will send an email to myself, my wife, all of the New Jersey administrators, and you, the person who submitted it. It creates basically a conversation via email that we will respond to you very rapidly. My wife and I are regularly watching our email. So if something breaks, count on it. I'm going to get it fixed really fast. If you can't upload a file, let me know, send it to me. I'll get it up in here for you. I'll figure out what's going on. That's what I do. That's what we provide. And that really, truly is the entire process that you're going to go through. So from the beginning, again, you're going to go here to register, pay for it. Whenever you're done paying for it and you want to manage your submissions, go here to update your entries. You'll see those here. Any files that New Jersey wants you to have access to, PDFs or other bits of information, you can download them directly from this spot on the page. And yeah, that's the whole thing that I've got. Oh, there is actually one other thing. Again, because this is a demo, I can't show it to you. But after you upload the file here, you can click on the file. You can delete it whenever you want to, but there's an edit option where you pick which image will be the primary cover photo, the one that kind of represents your project in particular. Also, for each of these, you can select or you can type in a caption for the image. Judges can view the captions, and when this whole thing is complete, the captions come with the entire package. And if New Jersey turns on the winner's gallery, the primary cover photo and the captions will also be reflected in the final gallery. So that's all I've got. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I am at your disposal at any time. including anytime after this call. I'm gonna be quiet now.
Thank you so much, Daniel. So I think that we are going to now open up the format for any specific Q&As. I've been trying to monitor the chat and answer people's specific questions, but I think, Susan, I have a specific question that Veronica had sent into the chat, and it had to do with when, depending on the guidelines around submitting projects and when it was completed. So her specific question was, can you confirm the project had to be completed in 2024, or can we submit it as long as it's been completed before the April cutoff? So can you talk about the guidelines about, when the project had to have been completed?
Yeah, I mean, you want to submit something that's relatively current and, but as long as you have everything ready, the project's completed, you have it photographed, and you can get all of that in time before the submission date, go ahead and enter it.
So there's no
Absolutely.
cutoff, like it has to have been completed within the past 5 years or the past 3 years or anything like that.
We don't have that.
Okay. Okay, great. Is there anybody else that has any specific questions that they want to ask to the group? Please unmute yourself and ask.
I do, but I don't know how to type it, so.
No, you
I
can just
ha-
ask. It's okay.
Now you
Ivy.
can just ask.
Okay, on my floor plan, I have a family room and a dining room, which is really one space. So dining area. Do I consider that they're connected? There's no walls, it's one space in a house. Do I call that 2 spaces or 1 space? It's the family room with a dining area connected with no walls.
I think that's probably 2 or more spaces, but then it's within the square footage. So it's either going to be less than 2,500 square feet, more than 2,500 square feet, less than 5,000 square feet, more than 5,000 square feet.
But it's only 1 space.
2 areas.
It's
Okay.
still 2 spaces
Do we-
because it's a dining room space
Mhm.
and a living room space. It just happens to be 2 or more spaces within a confined square footage. So that's what gets really tricky about the open floor plan. So unless it was,
Gonna kill us.
I'm sorry, did someone have something else they needed to add? I think that if it is, I agree with Susan, if it is a living room and a dining room, even if they are in one large space, there is a category that covers that within square footage.
Well, we're under the square footage, but it does, you have to put it in the main space of under 5,000 square feet. The square footage of the 2 spaces,
1,400.
we're like 580 square feet or less. It's small.
So there is a category that's 2 or more spaces for less than a specific amount or more than a specific amount. So it would fall into the less than category. Sarah Fletcher, can you please put the categories back up on the slide?
Should never invest.
Oh, definitely ask. I went into, I'm in RO1, residential single space.
So there's
It's a dining area in the family room.
right. So it's a dining area and a family
No,
room.
it's a dining area in one room of the family room. It's not a dining table in the home.
That's separate, your dining.
So it's a total of, I don't know, 480 square feet
Okay,
approximately.
so I think that if it is a separate dining room, but it has to be in an open concept thing, you're in 2 or more spaces less than 2,500 square feet. If it is one room that you happen to have a table in that you could potentially eat dinner at or play cards at or have cocktails at, you're in residential single space.
That's
Susan, would you
us.
agree with that or no?
Yes. Yeah, no, I agree with that.
What? It's a residential single space.
I don't know what your project looks like, but I think that if it is a small table that you have put within one room, that is a multifunctional table for cards or cocktails or
Dinner.
or
light
your
dinner.
wings when you're watching the Eagles win the Super Bowl, it's a single residential space. If it's a proper dining room within a living room and it's a open floor plan of two combined rooms, then you've moved into residential 2 or more spaces less than 2,500 square feet.
Okay, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
That
That's-
help? Okay. All right, great.
Yes. Now, you don't need a circulation arrows or anything like that.
No.
I've never done that. No.
No, you
Am
just
I-
need the
am I
floor plan and the square
Right.
footage. And the
Right.
architectural scale is nice, but it's not a disqualifier. Not having your
Okay.
square footage on the plan is a disqualifier.
Yes, I know. Yes.
Because
okay,
of
so-
because you can
yes.
see in these categories how specific it is on
Yes, of
terms of
course.
square feet, which is why you have to have the square footage on the plan.
Okay, one more question. On the furniture, it's to scale.
The other problem is.
Sorry, can you guys
Wait.
mute?
Joseph, is that you? You need to mute.
Well, let me have
Remember,
one more
this is very careful.
question.
Their rate is not going up, but the amount of coverage they're buying is increasing, so therefore
What?
they have to pay a higher premium.
Hold on.
I'm
We have to
sorry,
have
I've
somebody
lost-
mute.
If they have $500,000,
Okay,
Yes.
somebody's
Let
on.
me just finish my last question. Hello?
Yes, go
It's
ahead.
Ivy. Yes, my last question, my furniture is to scale, but I don't have to put sizes on the furniture. Everything is to scale,
No,
as
you-
always.
you don't have to put
Okay.
sizes. So you don't have to write
Oh.
like this is a 94-inch sofa.
Blah, 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 blah. Okay, you've been
Mhm.
most helpful.
CEUs?
No, that I have to contact Paul Saruba for that. Okay, it was great. It was great
Okay,
seeing
great.
you all. Thank you.
Good to see you too, Ivy.
Is anybody
What?
else have? Oh, go ahead, Paul. Sorry.
1 second, Ivy, you have my email because we emailed, so just
Yes, I
respond to
do.
that email. And then
Yes, I will.
secondly, the more importantly, to tie your question in and for everybody on the call, that again is really going to help your narrative of the description of your project that you want to convey through your project to the judge, right? So that's
Yes.
where we can't tell you specifically what right? So you have to, like Sarah Storm was saying, whether it's a table you're going to eat dinner at or have cocktails at or play a game at, but it's sitting in one space. It's the narrative that you need to create that your project reflects that through your description.
Thank you. I appreciate. Also, how many industry partners? Was there always a minimum of 2? Is it still the same?
Yes, minimum of 2.
Okay.
And one thing with the narrative, everyone, you have to write it in the third person. You know, the designer did this. Don't say I did this, I did that. It's the designer, and it's just the way it's much easier for the judges to read and understand your project if it's written that way.
That's a good refresher. Yes. Yes. All right, it's great. So good luck to you all. This was very informative. And
Yes, good luck to everyone. And if anybody has a question, reach out to
I have
any
a
of the committee members,
Susan,
you
we're
know,
going to just
outside of this.
Susan, I'm just going to answer Rachel's question, and then I think Suha had a question. So Rachel put in the chat, can the project you submitted have been published or have plans to be published? Sure, publishing any media coverage you have, amazing, bravo to you. It plays no part in the design competition. So whether it has been published, is in, will be published and is, not able to be on your social media, whatever it might be, the design awards are a completely separate entity from that. So please feel free to submit anything. And then also for the R01 category, is there a square footage requirement for the residential single space? No, there's no square footage requirement. And then Suha, if you want to ask your question.
Yes. So I know there's a lot of students here, and a lot of students want to know how to submit their project if Danielle can walk through the student category, like how would a student see CPGEM and how would they enter the project? That would be helpful. And then another question that was in the chat box that a student asked was, since our projects, we sometimes do logos. So for example, she has a Barbie project, a retail Barbie sustainable retail project. So she made a logo for that retail project. Can she add that logo in her submission on one of the slides? Is that okay? Because I know you can get disqualified if you have your name on it or your logo, but that's a logo that she created for her retail space.
So I had answered somebody else's question about a large commercial project. And so I'm just going to reread the rule because I think it's pretty clear. I think she can have the Barbie logo. Basically, it says any information identifying entrance name, design firm logo, architect, or any other collaborating party that appears in the description image or on the drawings will be grounds for disqualification, except in the case of a commercial project where the client's logo, i.e. Lego, where the client's logo can be shown in IP categories where logos are permitted. We didn't actually talk about in the students, but I can defer to Susan too, but I'm under the impression that if it's okay for commercial and it's okay for IP, I think like Barbie logo or Lego or any of that kind of logo type thing for a retail space is okay.
Yeah, for student entry too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So I've shared my screen just to show you functionally it's going to be an identical process to the professional category. You're still going to have everything really is going to be the same. It's going to visually be the same. You're going to have multiple forms that you have to fill out. They're going to have required details, some not required, potentially. Some will be visible to the judges, some will not be visible. You'll have your photographs. You'll have your the primary photos, before photos, floor plan, lighting plan, interior elevation. And again, I'm presuming that these are going to be for the project that you're submitting if they apply. Some things are going to be required, such as this requires 2, but the lighting plan does not require anything. The floor plan does not require anything. And you can submit up to 2 images here in this. So again, you're going to need to go through, this is the residential space, STO1. There are 2 other student categories. So you'll need to go through the submission the requirements that have been set up inside of the project and provide what's needed. Again, you're going to have the name to be shown on the award, whatever you name is going to default to your name. And the review process is again identical. So, and you will again have the request for help button. So I appreciate this being very new, and I promise you intimidating, but once you begin to use it, I can also assure you, you will find it very easy to flow through. And if you do not, let me know, because I will help you out as much as you need. Okay, that applies to anyone.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions?
I just have one question. For student entries, what should we submit for the before pictures of our project?
That's our competition, sweetie.
I'm not sure if there is, if that
don't
is a
think there
requirement for
is.
students. I don't think it is because
It
I think
is.
Not a requirement for.
Oh,
I
it
can
is
see,
a
we can
requirement?
change that.
No, it's not.
but I
Shouldn't
can
be.
see in here that this category, this folder does require a minimum of 1, but you have the power to modify that at any time.
Okay,
That's
for a
right.
student, most of their projects are dreamed up in their creative minds and they don't really have an actual work site. So if it is, when I was in design school, they gave us a shell that we all use together. So if you have like one specific space that everybody is designing against, feel free to put that in. But I don't think it should be required because I don't think most of them have a before image.
Right.
So if you could modify that, Daniel, that would be great. Thanks, Dominique. That's a really good question.
Yeah,
I also have a
good
question.
Sure. I can't see who it is.
This is Vanessa speaking.
Hi, Vanessa.
So for commercial, there was special spaces listed. What would that entail?
That's a good question.
Can we go
pull up the
back,
slide,
Sarah,
Sarah?
can we go back to that screen? Or Daniel, can you pull up commercial spaces?
Oh, special and unique.
Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
No, I think Sarah has the screen up. So we just need Daniel to be able to share screen for C08.
50 square feet.
All righty. Let's do this again. Okay. FYI, I'm probably going to have my wife contact you because we're using the same before photos for every category. And the before photos require.
I have 3 before.
So we'll probably have to create one specifically for students.
Lighting
Just FYI.
plan.
Ivy, can you please mute yourself?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
All right. So we wanted to see the student commercial. Is that right?
No, it's the C08 special and unique spaces for commercial.
This is the C08. And it has master entry, meeting the criteria, IPs, modified summary, photo credit, and then photographs, before photos, furniture floor plan, and designer headshot. Should
Okay,
there
so
be one for student for this?
Vanessa, you're asking specifically like what would you submit to this category?
Yeah, so what projects would like be applicable for this category? Yeah.
I think I'm going to go out on a limb. I think it's like, I'd say a Ronald McDonald House project or something. That's.
It is something, yeah, it's something that doesn't fit into the other categories.
Right.
All right.
It's basically a catch-all, like you something, that doesn't exactly fit.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then Vanessa, if that didn't answer your question, please feel free to email any of us and we can do a little bit more research and get back to you with more specifics.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Sure.
But I think it's important to clarify, Vanessa, that's the student category. Student submissions don't have that category.
Oh, okay. I thought this was under students. Sorry.
Students have residential, commercial, and public spaces.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Was there anybody else before Susan takes us out?
I had one last question.
Sure. I can't see who was speaking.
It's Veronica.
Hi, Veronica.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to confirm if in residential 02 category, can that include a kitchen and a bathroom, or are those just completely separate categories?
I'm going to put this up again.
Yeah.
That's the 2 or more spaces for less than 2,500?
Yes.
Susan, I think you need to clarify that, but my understanding of that category is it's 2 or more spaces within the same project that you've done. So it could be, if you've done a first floor, it could be a kitchen, a bathroom, and a living room and a bar, or it could be a bedroom and a kitchen. Susan, can you clarify for me if
Right. No, I think that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you could enter them separately. You could enter the kitchen and then you could enter the bathroom if you want in 2 different categories, because we have that. We have, residential small kitchen, residential large kitchen, residential small bathroom, residential large bathroom. Or you could enter it into the RO2 if it's under 2,500 square feet.
And Vanessa, you can enter it in both. You're allowed to have the same photos in up to 2 categories. So for example, you could enter the kitchen and then you could also enter 2 or more spaces.
Great. Thank you.
It looks like you do have another question from Demiana.
Oh, Demiana, sorry. Hi.
Hi, I just had a quick question. What projects can we submit under the student public space?
That would be, can I answer that?
Yeah,
It would
please.
be like a government building or a something that's not, commercial is to when you're selling something or whatever. So it could,
Is it also possibly like an atrium at the base of
Yeah.
a office building? You know, so like
Right.
in
Exactly.
Manhattan, you have these large
Mhm.
commercial buildings, and then somebody's designed the common like atrium where you might have a Starbucks, or it might be like a park, or that I
Exactly.
think would be also a public space.
Exactly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You guys have great questions. Anybody else before we wrap up? All right, Miss Susan, can you take us?
Yeah, so we just want to say thank you again so much for joining us this evening, and we hope we've answered your questions. If you have any questions that you think of later on tonight or throughout the week or throughout any time that you're entering, please reach out and we will answer as best as we can. And then again, I just can't emphasize enough to please check everything before you submit to make sure you've noted your square footage, you have nothing identifying on any of your photos, floor plan, anything, because we do not want anyone to be disqualified.